has got. And it's partly linked to understanding what follow-up is, which is something we discussed months back when you were in Cape Town.
That's right.
So what they've said in the seven days to $1,000 is repeat this weekly cycle every week for the first year, basically, until you get 20 or 50 or however many people there are in the business. But that is over a week. So for the first 4 days, we basically do a mini mobilization. And then for a couple of days, we get people ignited to get to a weekly event or to a home meeting. And then we close people and get them started. Now, when I put that into the month cycle, the month is an extension of that week. But the last week is about building in depth. It's about spending time with the team and really pushing duplication and helping them get more people into their business in an impulse way of doing it. In other words, force over a short period of time.
Okay.
It's less intense let me say, Bruce told us at the beginning of the year or the end of last year, what he does is the first Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, he mobilizes. Thursday he ignites, Friday and Saturday he closes.
Yeah, so he took Q Momentum and he took 7-day formula and put it into 1 week.
Correct.
So let's go back to George's question. So George, we're not doing two different things, because if you look at this chart that you should be seeing, which is the Q Momentum summary, okay, you'll see, I know we're talking about video 2 now, but they are tied together. So if you look in the middle here, it says the live event. So Saturday's training was our live event. So when you come out the live event, you're in phase 3. So hence, as we came out of Africa Alive, okay, Africa Alive, that week is your 7 days, which is your phase 3. Okay. Right. So, and in that phase 3 is your follow-up, and you get your massive numbers started and all the rest of it. So the only way you can get somebody started is if you've closed them. So this is where you create and increase your income. So if we go back to looking at it, coming out of if you do all the intense follow-up and everything that you've got to do for the 7 days to actually close people, you should be able to close, get $1,000 in 7 days, because of phase 1, which had been happening sort of like from the 1st of the month and into the event, and then out of the event. And so that is why the very first thing you do coming out of the event is your $1,000 in 7 days. And that's basically closing the people that you've been working with since phase 1. So it is the two tied together. It's not that when we come out of Africa Live or the event that we start in phase 1 with the 21 days. Then we've got the whole system upside down. Is that making more sense?
Michelle, can I maybe just add?
Sorry, June. Let's just stick with George and then, because I know the system a little bit deeper than you do right now, June. If you don't mind just holding 1 second. Yes, George.
Yeah, it makes sense, and I can relate to that, and I can understand it. But it's two different concepts, because what Masa and Miguel is teaching you is to do $1,000 in 7 days and doing it for 4 weeks a month. So it's two different concepts. I bought the 1K in 7 days program way before they still put it onto the MLG site. And what they teach there is to do it every 7 days.
Yes.
And it's not connected to Q Momentum at all. But yes, we can join it. I've got no problem to do it, because I can see it can work like that as well. But I went through the videos of the course that I bought again, not the one on MLG, because it's a little bit different.
It is different. It is different. It's deeper. So, yeah. And when you do the one that you've got, George, it's making the assumption that you don't know anything about Q Momentum.
Correct.
So that is why they've had to package that And if you look at that package so they package that $7,000 in 7 days, and that's the only thing. So they're just helping people to repeat that.
Correct.
But so if we now take the $1,000 in 7 days that's in the MLG back office, it ties back to the 7 days after. Okay, so that's where we've got to understand that the cycle is. So when we came out of Africa Live, that's why when Andrew said to me, right, Michelle, what is the thing that you do coming out of Africa Live? I said the first thing that I do is I watch the $1,000 in 7 days, because I need to get my head into activity and closing more so than the whole Q momentum, because I can't start Q momentum coming out of, and that's the mistake everybody's making, is that making the mistake coming out of the event going into phase 1, which is so, and they shouldn't be. So now basically we're starting now. The 7 days is gone now. This week, Monday. Okay, today. Well, actually, it should have been Sunday, but most of us take Sunday off. So today we're starting the day 1 of the 21 days. Makes sense.
Well, that's what exactly after I've looked at it. So I put it out on my board. Basically, what Jeff did as well.
Yeah.
I mean, put it out on my board so that I can run according to that now, because that is how the system is put out. 21 days recruiting, or just putting people into your funnel, and then you go over to phase 2, which is the event at the end of the month, and then the closing in the last week. That is what the Q momentum gives you.
Brilliant. And then when you come out of the event on the 24th of November, you should be doing the activity, because it's all about the $1,000. You've got to focus on, how do I close these people to make $1,000 in this last week? Okay. So yes, now I understand where the slight confusion comes in, because you've got the deeper. The only thing, if there was no Q momentum attached to it. Awesome. Nice one. Thanks.
Michelle, I think we're missing something here.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to challenge how you do it, because what you're doing works. Remember the follow-up bit that I lost the point on for the first 3 years of being in this business, is the follow-up with people already in our team. It's not only about the people we've closed in that month or in the final week after the event.
Yeah.
That follow-up in the last week, as I've interpreted today, and this is why I said I think something sank in, is about building duplication in depth in that last week. It's not only about the new people we bring in, because those are our direct sign-ups. Those are just our directs. What about the people in our team who are doing the same? And we have a responsibility to them to follow up with our existing members to help them get people in. That's how I see the last week being different in Q momentum to the last 2 days every week in 7 days to 1K.
Okay, so the duplication to going into depth. All right, if you've done your last week and you've closed your people, okay, now what you're doing is you're basically backing off in the last 21, the first 21 days. So if you look at now's mine, where I'm sending out new links and all the rest of it. So now my activity calms down. However, it doesn't mean that my activity for my download, which is what Jeff is saying now gives me opportunity to go down into depth and create home meetings and results for the people downline. But coming out of the event, it's your personal activity that's got to hit it in those 7 days. And then the 21 days you start creating and you start teaching, so that when you come out the event, okay, so if I come out the event in, okay, let's me take June, he has new on the group. Okay, so June is new, and my first thing was to get her to event. Okay, I tried to get her to do a home meeting. She hasn't done a home meeting because she lives in Rustenburg and it's too far. So that's a big lesson. Again, when trying to build a business, number one golden rule is you never, ever, ever recruit outside of your town. Okay. You don't recruit online and you don't recruit out of your town. When you're doing it for the first, so Tracy is focusing in Swannendam because she knows the people she can work with in Swannendam. Jen should be focusing on people in Rustenburg because that's her town, okay? Keith in Swannendam because that's his town. George Pretoria because that's his town. Ravi in Vista because that's his town, okay? And Philip, I'm going to challenge you now. George and I are challenging you because we're now going to grow Pretoria. So one of the golden rules that we have in all of this is we attend weekly meetings, okay? So it is about getting yourself to a weekly meeting and getting that going. So if you don't have a weekly meeting, I'm challenging Tracy and Keith. They need to be doing a home meeting in their town and eventually growing it to what they're doing. Jerry's doing home meetings in his town with Nalu. And he's doing his meetings as well. So I know Mish and Eugene, they started off with just calling it a home meeting. Now the volume is opened up to the community. Although it's still in their home, okay, they can still accommodate, but they're growing faster. But their teams are starting to get involved in. Now it's Boksburg meeting. Okay, so that's what's got to happen. So going back to one golden rule when you're starting out, hometown, close to you, because June, you know how difficult it is for you and I to communicate, even though it's Rustenburg to here, the distance already is far. So how do you recruit somebody? Magritte is on here. How hard it's been for us to get commitment from the people in New Zealand. Okay. Great job, perfect. It's awesome getting them on, but it's difficult to get them going in that area. I mean, George, most of your guys are in your hometown, and how difficult it is to get them mobilized. All right. So it is important that is what you need to be focusing on is your hometown or close by. Or, for example, Tracy could have friends in Pretoria because that's where her upline is that signed her in, should be focusing on getting people so that I can help her build a business in Pretoria. And that's as far as you go. Now, if you keep that model, it's very easy to create the duplication in depth downline. Where we're messing it up is we're trying to create duplication with people that are outside of our town. And now it becomes extremely difficult because it's online. It's when can you zoom in? Can you do this and this, those times? And that is where there's no duplication of a business. So I can go and put 1,000 people into the business, but they could all be, okay, let's take Bruce Hughes, for example. If it wasn't for the fact, okay, if Bruce had built Zimbabwe differently, he would not have been successful. But Bruce literally helped his cousin, who is, I'm just trying to think of his name now. Anyway, his cousin move from Ballito. Okay, moved from Ballito to Zimbabwe. Literally moved him so he had his core person there. We can't all do that. You know what I mean? So it would be almost like Philip saying to his brother, okay, you're going to go and live in Windhoek now so you can build Namibia. What is his brother's name? Goth. Okay. So, and that's how he built. That's at Richmond, Garth Richmond. So Garth is Bruce's cousin and needed a job. So basically this became his job. So he moved his whole family up to Zimbabwe to build Zimbabwe because they have got ties with Zimbabwe. Now that's difficult, guys. And this is why we should not be looking outside of our town, because there's enough people in our towns to actually recruit to start off with, to get yourself to NMB GRL4. Okay, 14 people in that business. So it's very important to ensure that we do that. So I hope that makes sense now. Africa Live, or the next event is the 24th. So we are now literally starting day 1 of the 21-day cycle. Now my activity, I'm still going to try and close my people as I go, but my activity is not as intense and not self-focused in the last 7 days. Now it's time for my team. And now it's time to actually go and create that depth and consolidation with training. If you look at the first phase, if I actually go and have a look at, let me share Jeff's shot again. Brilliant. So here we got it here. So we're started this phase here, which is phase 1, which is my personal recruiting. So in other words, I'm now in recruiting phase again, nice and steady, doing my 3 links a day, that kind of cycle. Okay. Plus I'm duplicating in depth. So what I want to try and do is get results for Tracy and for June and for whoever's putting their hands up for 3-way calls and that kind of thing. So I'm available to try and do that. And for George, and also Seamus, who's not here, I'm going to meet one of his guys tomorrow and hopefully close her. And then obviously consolidation with training. So this is where this training becomes very directive every week as an, okay, fine, let's just focus on these 2 videos for today. What do they mean to us? And I'm loving the conversation because the interpretations are different. So I just want to hear now as soon as I finish this. So we're in the 21. Then we're going to get the live event. So 2 days, well, literally 2 days before the live event, it's on the phone and trying to get as many people into the live event as possible. And then coming out there, this is where you have your highest belief in the company. So whoever came out of Africa Live and did not utilize their own energy by getting on that phone and saying, hey, I've just come from an amazing conference. I've learned some amazing stuff with regards to the cryptocurrency space. I'd love to share with you. Are you open to having a look at it? I really would love to share with you. That should have been the phone calls happening every single day. And that's where you get now your activity that ties up with the $7,000 in 7 days. I want to say $7,000 in 1 day, but that's okay. It's not going to happen. Okay. So before George speaks, let's see how June interprets it. Yes, June, you were going to say?
Yeah, Michelle, basically, when I watched the video today, my focus was not so much on, 30 days and 1,000. I'm thinking mobilizing. Yes, I heard the first 7 days, but I'm thinking mobilizing, and if you can get somebody to commit to watching a live conference in that 7-day period, why not? If you can close somebody in that 7-day period, why not? But the main focus is then obviously to get the bulk of the people. And then what you've clarified now, which I actually didn't even think about as the only live event. I thought of a live event as being any meeting where you bring a few people together trying to talk about the organization and talk about them wanting to close and wanting to buy in and close. Buy in, for lack of a better word. But yeah, that was how I interpreted it. What I also just want to find out, because I'm not so au fait with the back office yet. Do we from day 1? Do we actually in that back office put in all your contacts and your activities, or can we do it like I've done it now on paper and keep track of who I must still phone again or who I must follow up with? And actually the one that I got to commit tonight to the conference was a follow-up, and the one was totally a cold call of today. Right. So the other question that I wanted to ask, there is nothing wrong with us using our contacts in LinkedIn, our contacts in WhatsApp to actually get the buy-in, whether they're in the same town as us or not, because otherwise I'm going to be in a bit of a disadvantaged situation because it's only my 3rd month in Rustenburg, so I don't really know a lot of people in Rustenburg. I have started putting my feelers out through Ronald, but yeah, that will be a bit of a stickler for me. So I have been concentrating friends, family, contacts from industry, contacts not from industry alone, but on LinkedIn and WhatsApp that I've gotten to know over the years. So that should be okay.
So long as you can get them onto these Zoom calls every week, and you're going to have to do Zoom. So I'll do the first 1 or 2 Zoom, show you how to do a Zoom training and coaching and all that, and then you're going to have to pick that one up yourself and get them onto here. So I would do what George is doing, and that would be going to meetup meetings in Rustenburg. So type in, is it meetup.co.za, George? Okay, type in meetup, meetup.co.za. Type in the town Rustenburg, and it'll give you all the meetings that you could actually go to and meet new people and build relationships. Okay, that's what I would do.
Just one more question, Michelle D. That my go-to place would also be by default Pretoria, because I lived in Pretoria before that, and I do know a lot of people in Pretoria.
And I would focus on that, because then we can get them into the business presentation, and also I can coach and mentor them as well from this side, so it's easier. So let's.
But if it's somebody that I've presented to the organization, and would they then join under me?
Correct.
Regardless of where they stay.
No, correct.
Right.
100% under you. And yeah, 100% under you.
No problem.
Cool.
All right.
Awesome.
Great. That's all.
Nice one.
You.
Okay, so Mish and Eugene. Sorry, George, you wanted to say something first?
No, I can just add on what June, as to what June said, is that I mean, the first 21 days when you do the mobilization, if I get, you can't wait 5 days or 6 days for a person if you want to sign him up. If he's ready, you must close him and you must sign him up.
100%.
So you mustn't keep all these people after 21 days after the event and then try to sign them up, because you're going to lose them.
You will.
So in the first 21 days, if a person is ready to go, you go for it.
You go for it. You go for it.
The people that is maybe hanging on the fence, that you can get to the event and just change their mind, and then after that, you must try and close them. So
100%.
the first 21 days is not only for just mobilizing or sending links out and stuff like that. If you can close people, you've got to close them. I mean, it's just like.
Yep, and then you got to do a get start and try and get a home meeting. 100%.
And here's the other advantage. Every person that we get to join our business is another 10 people that they can bring to the next event.
Absolutely. So
immediately, and that's part of duplicating into depth.
Immediately. So you can even ask June, who I'm working with now. I keep asking her, when's your date for your home meeting? When's your date for your home meeting? When's your date for your home meeting? And the longer you leave that, June, the longer, the more difficult the system's going to work for you. So even if having to do something in Pretoria, but we need to get that one up and running. So Keith will know that, Jerry will know that, George will know that. Jeff definitely knows that as well. So especially you, Michelle. So yeah, how important it is to get a home meeting done ASAP.
I was working on 3, Michelle, and one in Rustenburg, one in the Vaal, and one in Pretoria, purely because of people that I know that side. The one has gone quiet. He hasn't answered me yet, but his wife said he's very busy till late at night, and he's asked that she watch the video with him before they try and get people together. The other one has blocked me, so she didn't have the guts to say no, she doesn't want to do it. She just blocked me on WhatsApp. And the third one, the Rustenburg one, I am still working on.
Fantastic. So. Brilliant. Awesome. Yeah. Love it. Right. Well done. Well done. Nice. Yeah. Right, Mish and Eugene. So from first 2 videos, what's your interpretation and your application?
Look, for me, it's I agree with George and what everyone is saying in the sense of, if you've got someone that you need to close them. And you can't wait. However, one thing everyone must just realize is the whole 21 days is about education. Okay, it's not about closing people. It's about getting people educated from one event or one exposure to the next exposure to the next exposure. So by the time you get them to the event, it should be number 4, number 5, or number 6. Okay. So when you then get to that 7th day of closing and stuff, it should actually be not that difficult to close them, because you already closed them like 4 or 5 times, getting them to the presentation, getting them to the event. So that's kind of my take is just remember that you have to inform people, to give them just an opportunity they need to look at. You're not selling them anything.
Mm.
So that's my whole thing. I just work with people all the time, getting the link out and stuff, and then try and get them to the weekly one. And then at the weekly one, try and promote the monthly one. And then if I get them to the monthly one, I know I've got a 95% chance of actually closing them.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome.
I think
Nice.
one of the things we get hooked up on is getting the sale done, doing the deal. What Eugene's saying is change that focus. We win when we get to a point of, in a conversation, of getting people to a position where we can ask them, are they open? And if we shift our focus forward to that point, we're less desperate too, because we're in a conversation. When our mindset is, I've got to make this sale, I've got to shut this deal, I've got to get this person to join, we become desperate.
Yes.
And the people feel it. It's
Yeah.
like casting out, into the water and reeling in, and casting out and reeling in, and casting out and reeling in, instead of just leaving the bait there for the fish to come and bite it.
Absolutely.
You chase them all away, because we're thundering the water with a load of milli bombs.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So, sorry about that.
Slow down to speed up.
Slow down to
Yeah.
speed up. Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, so now, for example, let's now go and have a look at, so Mish, you wanted to say something? And what is your interpretation?
100%. If you can put your mind at ease, and I think that's very difficult for new people in the business, to realize and be patient, to give it a gap, give it a month or 3 before they decide it's for them or not for them, kind of thing, this business. Because it's in the beginning, it's tough. You are hard up for that sale.
Yeah.
To just know you're doing the right thing.
Yes.
But once you get into the habit of educating, like I said last week, so we had 2 people we signed up last week. It was a hell of a process to get them there.
Awesome.
But again, it comes back to momentum. You know, if we lost the momentum throughout this process, we would have lost them.
Correct.
And consistency. People are watching. All those that turn around and say, no, this is not for me. They're watching, waiting for you to quit.
Yes. Yes.
You keep at it. The longer you keep at it, they're like, there's something. What is it that you're busy with for so long? And that pays off in the long run.
It does. It does. And that's
So
where
you
it's
need to
important
commit.
And know what you're doing with each individual.
Yeah.
Taking them from exposure to exposure. Brilliant. So going back now to the $1,000 in 7 days, the course that you did, George, that was all about just getting results after results after results. So if you're going to have a look at that, you literally, if you look at it, it'd be Q momentum in a week. So it's like massive action here, try and get them to a presentation, close them. Massive action, but it's pressurized, pressure cooked, which is Monday to Wednesday, recruit, get somebody into a business presentation, close them Thursday, do the rest of the stuff, and then you're back to that cycle again. So it's still that process within a squashed period, if that makes sense. But for everybody who's working full time, the 30 days is good. The 30 days, the 21 days into an event, into now. June made quite a good comment as well. The interpretation of event. Yes, it's a live event, and in this scenario, we're looking at the monthly event. Okay, but quite rightly so. If you have exposed someone to a business presentation or a webinar, that for them, and they sign up, that becomes a live event. Does that make sense? Now you're responsible in the next 7 days, which is the follow-up momentum phase to create the activity. Now you understand why in that 7 days, once you've signed a person up, you should be doing a home meeting for them. Okay. Now, if you're in their hometown, it's easier. If you're not in the same hometown, it's almost impossible. Okay, so quite rightly in that interpretation as well, June. Then you get them into the system, and then you follow the live event, which is like your monthly event, and the next one is on the 24th of November. Okay, now you then fall into that. But the moment you get someone in, or got them to sign up at a home meeting or sign up at I'm talking about closed at one of those events, it's your responsibility then as a leader to jump into the next 7 days activity for them, which is now the momentum phase, or momentum phase. Does that make sense? So this cycle, really speaking, if you've done it right, if you've managed to close 5 people in this period of time, then your job for the next 30 days is not for you to do Q momentum. It's for you to help those 5 people do Q momentum. Okay, you will still do your activity, okay, which is sending your 3 links so that you're filling your funnel. So you're still filling your funnel, but your focus is with the people that, or put it this way, it's with the people that are willing to say, hands up, I will do what it takes. Yes, I will do the home meeting. Yes, I'll get to a business presentation. Yes, I'm going to get to the training. Okay. Yes, I'm going to read the GoPro book, and yes, I'm on MLG. Those, then you go and you work with those people and you help them to do the whole cycle and get them into the event. And then you start again until they're doing it, and they do it 1 month on their own. Then you help them to get them to do it with 2 people. And that is where your duplication and your you're leveraging the system of duplication. Anybody want to comment on that? Silence. Yes, Mish.
I must be honest, I found myself slightly overwhelmed between last week and this weekend, between getting my own people signed up, helping people in my downline get people signed up, getting everyone on a get started, getting everyone and handling everyone's questions, and running my household and my business. I have found it overwhelming trying to juggle. And then I kind of think you're right. I need to relax and realize on our side, we just need to fill our funnel, not necessarily close anyone now for the next couple of weeks, focus on getting our next people set up and running so they've got momentum. So thanks, that helps a lot.
Your sound is off.
I just muted myself. Yeah, so it's about you getting your activities, slowing yourself down, okay, making sure you still get between the 2 of you 3 links out a day so your funnel is full, because your job is to get your new people that you're looking at into doing the right activity, which is where the consolidation of the training comes, because this is your time where you take, even if you just take two of the people that you signed up and say, right now, are you prepared to come to, I'm prepared to work with you and I'm prepared to create results if 1, you're an MLG, 2, you'll come to the weekly presentation, 3, you've got your ticket for the next event, 4, you're reading the GoPro book, and what was 5 is you'll have a home meeting. Okay. If you're prepared to do that, then I'm going to work with you and I'm going to show you how, because if you do that within 3 months, they're going to be earning $1,000. Okay. All right. So the $1,000 in 30 days is more for the Georges, for you guys, for Keith, for Margriet and Philip and myself. With Tracy and June and Lauren and Ravi, it's more it's more the Q momentum. Let's stick with Q momentum. Let's get a result through Q momentum. Okay. Then when they pick up pace and they know what they're doing, because the reason why is in that 7 days coming out of the event, that's when you're most fired up. It's when you're going to go and do your most activity so that you can slow down from day 1 of the 21 days to help your team and get results that way. And that's where the duplication comes, and the duplication. Does that make this a little bit clearer? Oh, I am recording it. I thought, damn, I forgot to. Yes, Jim. Yes.
Yeah, Michelle, I just want to add that I will, with the first few presentations, I would really need to learn through, when you're doing the presentation. And then also what would help, obviously, is when that part when you did it for me, when you showed me your back office and all of that, that pulled it through for me. And they say salespeople are the most difficult people to sell to, but that day was probably one of your easiest and fastest, sign-ups. And maybe you thought afterwards, you wonder if I'm going to ask for my money back or something. But yeah, now that pulled it through for me is the fact that I could see everything, and I could, that I could make a decision based on that. So that is one of the reasons why I would want you to be with me with the first few, so that people can also see that, because I think that was quite powerful for me, that I'm able to see what's going on in your back office. What do you do where? Why are you doing that? You see, but then also you and I probably still need a proper one-on-one where we have like a training sort of for me. So we can set it up maybe in next week, where I just feel totally more au fait with being alone in front of a customer. But for the first few, I would want you to be with. You're shaking your head.
I'm saying no, definitely not. So there's a system to follow. So June, we connected on LinkedIn. Is that correct? You're a cold prospect. We connected on LinkedIn. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Then
Yes.
the second thing, what is the second thing that I did? I sent you the link.
Link, yes.
Okay. The third thing, we got a face-to-face one-on-one appointment. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, when we did the face-to-face one-on-one appointment, I didn't have anybody to do a three-way call. So my three-way call was my back office. Okay.
Yes.
So you're going to be doing exactly the same thing, which means you phone up your prospects, you send them the link. Then
no, that I've done.
Yes,
but if I'm in front of the customer, if we do a presentation.
Stop. Okay, Mish, tell June the process. You have to wait. Right. How long are you in the business, and how long are you still following the process, Mish?
Year and a half.
Okay, so what's the process?
And I must add, properly for the last 6 to 9 months. So initially we kind of thought we have to know everything and we have to do everything by ourselves. And we did manage to secure a couple of people in our business, but however, we secured no duplication. Okay. So from following the system, from sticking to having posture, firstly, guys, posture it's tough, because I battle with that, because I want to please everyone and I want to help everyone but having that dead set posture, okay? So sending the link, following up after they've watched the link, getting them on a three-way call, getting them to an event, that process, not answering any questions, becoming the librarian of the library has been the key, massively, in duplication.
And and en route to that, you've learned a lot of information. Is that right? And now you're doing that process with your people. Yeah. Now you're 100%. The three-way call. So it's not about trying to know what to say, because you must say as little as possible to as many people as possible and get them in front of your closer. So June, absolutely. I'm your closer. So you
then I'm fine with that, Michelle. With the link, with talking to them about it, that is fine. I'm actually quite okay. I learn from when you present, when you're closing. So am I understanding you correctly? With every close, I need to reel you in then.
Correct. So when you phone after they've watched the link.
For now, I'll have to reel you in, because I don't have that knowledge yet. But if in future, you always have to come in. Is that correct?
And until you can duplicate what I'm duplicating with you. So, okay. Right. So that is to say as little as possible to as many people as possible. and get them in front of your closer. And you're going to teach your downline the same thing. Before I carry on, Eugene, you want to say?
I'm muted. Okay. So if you go and look at it on your Get Start, I think it's day 5 or day 4. It actually tells you the whole follow-up formula. Okay, so you speaking to one of your prospects are only allowed to ask them 2 questions when you follow up after they've watched the link. Okay, only 2. The first one is, what did you like best, so that you can understand, do they like strategy 1 or strategy 2? The second one is do you have any questions? If they say yes, then you say, great, let me get someone on the line that can assist. That is it. That's the system.
Awesome. Awesome. So if you haven't done the Get Start in the back of the MLG office, unfortunately, when we did our Get Start, June, that was when the whole of MLG was down. So you're going to have to log back in and go to Getting Start. Is it Get Started, guys?
Yes.
It does Get Started, eh?
Yes.
And then it's Get Started. And then it's the day 1.
And then it's a top flag.
Yeah. Okay, so, that's what's my problem here. Okay, I'm just want to make sure.
It's either Get Started or Get Results and then Get Started.
That's why I'm like, want to quickly have a look. It's amazing how you do it 1,001 times. So when June and I, okay, so you log in, and then on the side there, it says Get Results. June, click on Get Results. Then the first tab says Get Started. You click on that. And then it's got days 1 to day 7. So go through that and re-go through that again, and then follow those activities that are there. Go all the way through to day 7. And it shows you step by step. And that is correct. The only 2 questions that you're going to ask is, and what did you like best? Do you have any questions? They say yes. Say fantastic. If that question was answered, would you have another question? They say, yes, this is okay. If that question was answered, would you have another question? Yes, great, fantastic. Look, what I'm going to do is, I'm not the expert, so I'm going to get a professional or an expert online that I'm working with that actually has explained all this to me. So let's get them online, or a Zoom, like you said just now. We're going to do a Zoom, that kind of thing. So that's where this comes in. So the moment we know too much, we're not going to close anybody, because then we become a salesperson as opposed to an influencer.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, there is something I want to say. There's a very good rationale behind why the system is designed like it is, and exactly what Eugene said, that it's keep it as little as possible and just ask questions. If we were salespeople and we're selling cars, then we need to know something about cars because we're trying to do a sale. Same with a house. So we have to be experts in our field of sale. We're not trying to do that. What we're trying to do is let people believe that they can do what we're doing for them. We're not trying to do a sale. It's more an attraction thing and a belief thing than it is trying to close a deal. And that's why the system is designed the way that it is, that we do not position ourselves as the expert. Because as soon as we position ourselves as the expert, we know too much, we start selling. And that drives people away because they think they have to become experts.
Exactly. Now, I'm going to come to you, Keith, now. So if June, I had managed to get somebody else on the line that day, whereas I couldn't get Andrew, I couldn't get Anthony because he was busy, and then I couldn't get Susie. All 3 were busy. If I'd managed to get them on a 3-way call, it would have then been or a Zoom with you, that kind of thing. It would have changed this outcome. Okay, so awesome, nice one. Keith, you want to say?
I just wanted to say too, even if I have home meetings and I have someone around at my house, I first send the link just to show him the system, to show how simple it is. And I go into the system, either let him put his email address and name in, or I put mine in, just to show him what I would be sending to someone. And then going through that, let him click on strategy 1, strategy 2, go to the testimonials, and after that, I would then maybe, because I can't send him to a presentation, so I would then do Bruce's presentation.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And that's
So
another, and that's
there is
another
a system in place.
excellent. And that's another 3-way call, which is brilliant. So Bruce's presentation forms another 3-way call, or another third-party validation. That's the word I want. Third-party validation.
Andrew Eaton's validation video straight after the presentation.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Nice. Love it. Okay, so there are systems, and that is why it is so important for each and every one of us to be on our own My Lifestyle Galaxy back office. So 10 out of 10 June for being on it. And the rest of us are all on as well, which is brilliant. Okay, wow. I've learned a lot from you guys today. Who would like to share what they got out of today? Something new that you might have picked up with regards to the system. Okay, we know Magritte says loves the comparison of salespeople. So that's a good one. Great comparison. So you all sat here tonight for nothing. I'm sorry I wasted your time. You learned nothing.
No, you haven't. You haven't. Well, let's have this discussion, Michelle. The masters and the PhD, and how clever we are.
Awesome. Nice one.
Being a physicist, as soon as somebody mentions quantum to me, I start thinking atoms and physics and understanding energy and all that sort of stuff. So it just immediately becomes complicated. When somebody defines momentum incorrectly, as they have done on quantum momentum, then I just get pissed off. Okay. And I've got to try and get my head past that and call it something else. Right.
Brilliant.
So we go into analysis paralysis.
Love it.
It is what it is. I know what they mean to say with momentum and whatnot. And I have to just remind myself that momentum is not a force.
Okay.
Right. But what have I learned? 6 months. I've been in this business 3.5 years, and it's taken me till today to understand how those 3 phases work. We didn't have My Lifestyle Galaxy back then. I think late in 2015, we had My Fortune Dragon. It's really just changed name. Okay. And we've spoken about 7K in one in 1K in 7 days.
You also want 7Ks in 1 day. I love it.
I'm greedy. Okay.
And I want
we've
that.
had that. And I want that, yes. I'm not going to get it without duplication. So we've had that and how that can confuse people when you put it into the context of quantum momentum, which has been clarified.
Awesome.
Follow-up doesn't only entail following up after the link. It entails following up with the people who are already in our business, because if we don't stay in contact with them and help them duplicate, we're never going to be free.
Yeah.
Because we'll never get leverage. We'll never get momentum without following up with the people who are already signed in. Then when to do that, and this is where I've got stuck and why the activity gets into the wrong place. The time that you say slack off, we still do the activity. It's important that we still do the activity, because it's the activity that's going to be, people need to see that we're doing the activity, because then they will do it, right?
Hundreds.
But it's during the first 3 weeks that while we're doing that activity, that we build with the people in the business already. And the last week and the week after the event is when we get, I want to use selfish about our personal signups.
Yeah.
I was doing it the other way around.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. That's great clarification. Brilliant. Thank you. George and then Keith.
Michelle, maybe one nugget that I got out of doing quantum momentum again. Well, I did it this morning. I didn't do it last night, but I mean, I just think that that we should do it every month. You should actually watch these videos at the beginning of every month. And you can skip here and there where you know, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff they say that you know, but you don't do it. and you heard it, but you still don't do it. And some of that is important stuff
Yeah.
that you have heard. It's in your subconscious, but you still don't do it. So I think we, as the leaders or whatever, should actually do this thing once a month. I mean, Todd Falcone says, don't expect your downlines to do something that you can't or you haven't done yet. So we have to do this thing, and we have to get a K in 7 days. If you wanna have your downlines to do it, you've got to do it yourself. So I think we must just watch this thing every month.
Yeah.
That's my personal something that I learned because I haven't done it every month. I did it about 4 or 5 months ago. Remember when we did at the training, we also did it there. And then I've done it maybe once after that again. I had to look at it, but I didn't look the whole thing. So now I looked at the whole thing again. It's maybe the 3rd time that I've checked it, but I think we have to do it once a month. Otherwise, you will never get this thing under your knee.
Exactly. Nice one. Thanks, George. Awesome. Nice. Keith.
I just think we went through over the weekend, I think the first 18 of the, how do you say it, momentum videos. And I think it was in the first couple that stood out over there was the super invite script with a lot of people while inviting to find out their dream, their why.
Yeah, so next week.
We don't do, so you can go back and say, but, what is your dream?
Yeah. So that's going to be our homework. Have you benefited from talking about each of these slides in detail like this? Okay, cool. It really helps to chat with it. So one of the things we can do, I mean, we already are on here as the already on here every. Sorry, I'm pressing and clicking and trying to talk at the same time. I am a woman, I know, but that's not where I want to go. Okay, training. So we're on this already. Okay, that's why I thought instead of having another day out, like we can go and do a whole day Saturday, and we can go through Q Momentum on a whole day Saturday, but it's another Saturday out of our homes, out of our families, out of our businesses. Okay, we already are on here. So that is why I thought what we'll do is then do the next 2. Okay, so we've just done the introduction section of it. So we'll do next week as your homework the video 4, which is the last of the introductions. Then I don't want us to do the Facebook one. I would like us to do module 1, lesson 1, lesson 3, and lesson 4. So skip lesson 2. Okay. So we can have a chat and then we'll talk about them in detail, because I don't want to go into the quantum Facebook recruiting. So I don't want you to do that. So in Q Momentum, you must go and find module 1, lesson 1, 3, and 4. Okay. 1, 3, and 4. And then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about them in detail again. What do they mean to us? How do we implement them? Where's the clarification? Because I think today, as Jeff quite rightly put it, and as George was saying, there's a disconnect between $1,000 in 7 days that George was doing, and then the Q Momentum, and then where do we start? And I have found most people start the 21 days coming out of the event instead of starting the phase 3, which is ask about face, if you know what I mean. So I think for me, I think it was great clarification. You will post the homework on the group as well, Michelle. Yes, Mafleet, I will do that for you. I will say homework. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing, guys. I've loved this chat. I think this has been really dynamic, and I've learned a lot from you guys as well. And yeah, let's go forward. And now we are starting the it's not the mobilization. Yeah, it's mobilization phase. Is that what we're starting now? The 21 days, the first 21 days. So we're starting phase 1, which is mobilization, which is now expose your business, get it out there, help your downline, do training, coaching, all those kind of things, and try and get some depth going down in your business, so that by the time you get to the event, you have at least 2 downline that are committed to do Q Momentum coming out of 24th of November. If you can do that, and then master the just work with 2, okay? The whole universe was saved by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. So don't try and rush it into 5. Okay, just do try and find 2 that you can do it with. Awesome, guys. Bless you. Have a nice evening. God bless. Take care.